Hey y'all, how's it going? Welcome back. We are here to discuss spoilers for Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 4. And this is my biggest ever because I don't know how I feel, but no, I do know how I feel about it. I'll be direct about my feelings. I have to be open with you guys. It's an open dialogue, an open communication, and I just was not feeling this episode. It feels like the biggest or the quickest I've ever turned on something, and I'm so upset too because I really loved the premiere and I really loved episode 2, but it just seems like the momentum has slowed down to like a screeching halt with episodes 3 and 4. Now, at least for me, it just feels like the problem is that they're really stretching this story out to a point where it's way longer than it needs to be, and it's only 6 episodes, which is in some regards not a lot of time, but in this regards it is very much a lot of time, and it just feels like we're going round and round in circles. And I'll talk about, the cat and mouse chase in a little bit, but yeah, I have to admit, I know I said with some of these characters, like with Disney Plus, I was like, I could watch them paint a fence and I'd be happy, or I could watch them make license plates in jail and I would be happy. And now I kind of have to rescind that because I don't know, I think it's just this narrative. Perhaps if it was a one-off, like today Obi-Wan Kenobi goes grocery shopping, and today Obi-Wan Kenobi folds his laundry, at least it's something new every day. But having it serialized and it's like, okay, today Obi-Wan Kenobi folds whites, and today Obi-Wan Kenobi folds the darks, and today he folds the colors, and I'm like, okay, that this is a terrible analogy, but I hope it's making some kind of sense. So I don't know, this episode as well, I want it to be a little bit more thrilling. And I know they pack a lot in there in some senses, but it just felt like to me not enough happened to move the plot forward. Now let's talk about Reva, our third sister. I am still nowhere near close to enjoying her character. I still feel the same way that I did about her in the first couple of episodes. I don't think they've done anything to make her character more appealing. And yeah, it's just the fact that she is a character or a villain who acts on a whim instead of being calculated, and she comes off as very immature, and I know that's her character, but it just doesn't work well. And I'm trying to figure out too why, because they also Star Wars built Kylo Ren to be the same way, right? He idolizes his grandfather, he loves Vader, he's got posters of him like Britney Spears on his wall, but at the end of the day, he is still juvenile, he's still immature, he still doesn't know everything. But even, whiny baby Kylo Ren still felt a little more compelling than Reva, and it might just be an acting thing. Like Adam Driver, it's no contest, right? And I admitted, I was like, Moses Ingram, I don't think this is the role for her. It's a little too far out of her breadth of work. But so I think that's just all coming together in one big mesh, and it's like, I don't know, for example, when she was interrogating Leia, I'm like, who interrogates a child? Like, come on, even if you're evil, super evil being, you just have to think, it's kind of like, what were you hoping to accomplish? What were you hoping to get out of a 10-year-old child? And then not even that, she just so quickly resorts to violence, that's a better option, or it's just, I don't know, y'all, it had just been bothering me this whole time. And then maybe the one little the smallest thing, I'm here to theorize, the smallest thing that they dropped to me was her relationship to Obi-Wan Kenobi. So in the interrogation scene, she's got little Leia, she takes Lola, her droid, away from her, and she says, I've had something taken away from me, or I know what it's like to have stuff taken away. And maybe that is what they're trying to get at when they're like, okay, Kenobi owes her something. So previously I thought maybe she was an Obi-Wan Kenobi fan and she wanted him to be her master or something like that. Now I'm wondering, is it, because the Jedi take children, they take, young ones away from their homes, and they have to live this completely different life, really even without their consent. So I'm wondering if that is something that she resents, that she had this life normal life taken away from her to join the Jedi Order. That might be something. I think it would be a compelling narrative, especially if Kenobi for some reason was part of that, had chosen her specifically, out of a lineup and said this is the one, but it's still, the way that it's being presented to me is just kind of like, okay, we need a little bit more to go off of, or I don't know, just give me something. So, right, on the run again, another episode where we're on the run again, and it's not enjoyable to me because it just feels like deja vu. It feels like the same cycle over and over and over again, going back and forth and back and forth. Like, just do something to disrupt this and put things into motion, right? So Obi-Wan rescued Leia for a second time, right? And once again, they're being tracked, they're being followed because Reva put the bug in Lola. And so now in episode 5, guess what? Reva and the Jedi and the Sith and the Inquisitors are gonna have to go find Obi-Wan Kenobi again, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's gonna have to run, and he's gonna have to protect Leia, and it's just like, whoa. I'm going crazy here. So this is why I say that maybe this should have just been a shorter series, because it's just the cycle of going over and over again isn't doing it for me anymore. It's also like, how badly do you guys want Obi-Wan Kenobi? Because when Reva went and to Vader's office, and he was like, oh, you let Obi-Wan Kenobi again, how dare you, I'm so upset, she's like, oh, it won't happen again, blah blah blah. But also, how dare Vader, and how dare they characterize Vader in this way, for him to reprimand her when he was the same person who watched Obi-Wan Kenobi be pulled away in broad daylight and just sat there and be like, oh, well, there you go, there's nothing I can do about that. So I don't necessarily know why he's upset at her when he also had Obi-Wan Kenobi in the palm of his hands and he just let him slip through the cracks like that. The logic ain't adding up here. The math ain't mathing, y'all. Somebody please explain to me in the comments how this adds up. Or do they just really, they don't really care if they catch him. It's just not adding up to me. There's no justification. Also, like I mentioned earlier, I just wish the excitement level was a little bit more up. Like I said, they had some interesting moments that they tried to execute. I think, the scene where they've got the water and he's trying to hold it back and it comes flooding in. That was interesting. And he's stealthing his way around the base. But I was just like, thinking about when Mando infiltrates these Empire-run spaces and he's cool and he's kicking butt and he's tearing it up. And it's just like, it's such a big contrast compared to how Obi-Wan Kenobi is doing it. And I get it, he doesn't have the skill like he used to. It's been 10 years since he was in his prime. But I'm like, well, that doesn't really make it interesting. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. It's reminding me of the Book of Boba Fett, like in that very first kind of combat scene with Tamir Morrison, and he is not young, so he can only do the type of combat that a man of his age can do, and God bless him for being able to do that anyway. And so this feels like one level close to that with Ewan McGregor, where it's like he cannot do this young people stuff, and so the slower combat just kind of slows everything down. It drags it down a little bit. And I would appreciate perhaps if they use that to their advantage, right? Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, yeah, it makes sense. He hasn't been fighting and he hasn't been active for 10 years. So what if he got bested? What if he got caught like with Vader in a way where now he really needs someone to save his butt? And so I don't know. This isn't a knock, peak physical performance. These shows ask a lot out of people, and we come to expect a certain caliber. So I'm not one to talk, but still, I was just expecting the bar either to be a little bit higher for them to meet them halfway with Obi-Wan being defeated or captured, or yeah. So that leads up to the big question as I talk myself in circles, just like this series, is where do we go from here? And my interest is kind of waning at this point. I don't necessarily have high hopes for episode 5. I do think that it might be a little thrilling come episode 6, the finale, but yeah, I'm like, this could have been condensed. Like, just give us 3 good hours of whatever Obi-Wan Kenobi needs to accomplish with rescuing Leia, and just have that be that. So I'm gonna leave it there, guys. That's just my opinion. Let me know how you felt about the episode or the series as a whole. We still got 2 more episodes to go, so I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Now, a series that I did enjoy for the premiere just happened was Miss Marvel. Go and check out my review of that, linked over here, and be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more Disney Plus reviews, guys. I will see you next week. Bye.